How's it going, old schoolers? Shuckalaka kapow. You're kicking it old school with Russell JS, and I am your host, Russell JS. I got another album versus album, track by track. I'm doing this one artist, two classic live albums from one band. You already know who this is. No, it's not Cheap Trick. No, it's not AC/DC. No, it's not Motorhead, considering how many live albums those artists had put out. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm going to go get my vape. I'm back. So anyway, yeah, see, I had to have my vape right here. Maybe when I pause the video to get up to get something, that's when they'll go ahead and interrupt the videos for the YouTube ads. But what am I talking about? This band, their first three albums that were dropped during the time of 1974 and 1975 were not really selling very well. As a matter of fact, they were selling very poorly. I think the first album sold about 100,000 copies, something like that. I'll have to go back into my hint history. Yeah, so what am I talking about? And what happened was this band, who influenced generations of other bands, artists ranging from, Motley Crue, Poison, Guns N' Roses, Anthrax, Pantera, and Nirvana, and Garth Brooks, all cited this band as major influences in their careers. Oh yeah, and even Lenny Kravitz and Guns N' Roses, I think I mentioned. Who am I talking about? And here's what happened. They actually, while they were out on the road touring, they decided that they were going to record some of the shows to make a live album. And then what happened was when that live album, when it got produced and mixed and engineered, the whole kit and caboodle, it went ahead and it became a top seller and made this band a household name, where they would go ahead and start touring and recording for other albums. They would record 3 more albums, and then they'd record a second live album. And after that, they decided to enjoy the fruit of their labor. I think they each put out a solo record, their first greatest hits album, which was a 20-track, 2-record set. Merchandise to boot, t-shirts, posters, coloring books, lunchboxes, remote control vans, Halloween costumes, makeup kits. The sky was the limit. Who am I talking about? I think you already know who I've already been talking about. You wanted the best, you got the best. The hottest band in the world, Kiss Alive versus Kiss Alive 2. Now, I went ahead and went back to listening to these awesome bad Oscars. And one of the things I realized about the track list was Kiss Alive has got 16 tracks, live tracks. Kiss Alive 2, they put out 15 live tracks and 4 bonus studio tracks, which I decided I was going to take one of the studio tracks and add it as number 16. Why not? Because it's one of the awesomest of the studio tracks. And I'm about to go ahead and put these two great live albums up against each other. We're going to see which live album, which Kiss Alive is the best. And remember, if you're new to the channel, hit a like, subscribe, leave comments in that box down below, ring the bell for notifications, help me build this following, tell your friends, your family, your pets, your colleagues, your schoolmates, the whole kit, and even your boss at work. Tell him about this channel if he's an old schooler, and hit that subscribe button, and we can build this following. And without further ado, let's check these bad Oscars out, shall we? Okay, in the case of Kiss Alive versus Kiss Alive 2, Deuce versus Detroit Rock City. Oh man, this is really gonna hurt, because you know why? I love both these tracks, and you know what? Both these tracks were a great start to both these records. But you know what? Heck it. I'm giving them each a point. That's a tie, because I love both those songs. Strutter versus King of the Nighttime World. King of the Nighttime World is okay. Even with the studio version, I've heard better Kiss songs than that. I mean, heck, I would say Who Wants to Be Lonely would be better than King of the Nighttime World. So I'm giving that point to Strutter. Got to Choose versus Ladies Room. Man, I love them both. I mean, like Got to Choose. I mean, I just love that intro, that dun, 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 and then Gene's bass going boom, boom, boom. I mean, it just rocks. It hits hard. It's got a great groove. Now, I want to say also, I'm doing this because I've been starting to put up a lot of Kiss albums on these track by tracks, and they've been winning too. I mean, I've been in shock and awe about that because usually, these albums, they lose against another album. But you know what? I got to see how these two fit, which of these two is the better alive. Now, back to it. We've got that going against Ladies Room. And I just love how that's got a groove to it that really kicks. So they're both getting a point. Okay. Hotter Than Hell versus Making Love. I don't even care for the studio version of Making Love. I mean, it's Paul trying to be the ultimate lover and everything like that. And Hotter Than Hell, I love the way the musicianship goes and the songwriting. So Hotter Than Hell. And plus, I love that version from Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park when Android Kiss changed the lyrics. They're going, rip, rip, rip and destroy. I mean, if you haven't seen that movie yet, put that on your must-see list. So Hotter Than Hell takes the win. All right, Firehouse versus Love Gun. When I see the concert footage and, when they do TV appearances and they perform that song, it's great for like at the end when Peter Criss is ringing the bell and you see the fire truck sirens wailing and the lights. And then Gene comes out with the dagger and the fire and, breathes the fire like the fire breathing monster that he is. And it's killer. But I like Love Gun better, so Love Gun takes that win. Nothing to Lose versus Calling Dr. Love. Yeah, that was one of the biggest tracks they did, and Peter does great on the lead vocals with that while playing drums. But Love Gun rocks harder than Nothing to Lose. So get it? Love Gun rocks harder. Oh, I'm so terrible. All right. So now we got Come On and Love Me versus Christine 16. Oh, yeah. I didn't really dig Christine 16 all that much, even though it was a single. I like Come On and Love Me better. I love the way it grooves and it rocks. And let's see. How about this? 2 songs going against each other that were both written by, let me say today, the late great Ace Frehley, God rest his soul. Yeah. I've been trying to do a lot of the Kiss ones, and like I said, they've been winning lately. And I'm hoping that I'm giving Ace, when I do these, I hope I give Ace an awesome send-off. And in the case of Parasite versus Shock Me, despite the fact Ace wrote the tune and Gene sang lead on it, and Shock Me is his first vocal appearance, inspired by what happened when they were in concert in Lakeland, Florida, when Ace touched a railing that wasn't grounded and he got electrocuted, and still went back and did the show. I gotta give them both a point, man. And plus, both songs are written by Ace. She versus Hard Luck Woman. Now, this is another one where Hard Luck Woman's got that power rock ballad to it, and Peter Criss sings it. And I didn't first hear it until Garth Brooks did it on the Kiss My Ass tribute CD. And I wanted to hear it even more. And I actually enjoy that song. And I really love She. It's got a hard crunching, you know, in your face sound. So guess what? They both get a point. Watching You versus Tomorrow and Tonight. You know, Gene and Paul, they are really great singer and songwriters. I mean, they're the head. I mean, they were opting to be the next John Lennon and Paul McCartney, you know, because they wanted to be the heavy metal Beatles on steroids. And, you know, that's what Kiss was all about. And you know what? Watching You, sung by Gene, he really, I mean, he really does great on those vocals. So, and I'm not a big fan of Tomorrow and Tonight, so Watching You gets the point. Okay, 100,000 Years versus I Stole Your Love. You know what? I love how in the beginning when Gene would do the blood spitting and the sloppy bass solo, it would be the start of this, and he'd start with that boom, 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 and the band goes in, and then, but you know, the way Paul delivers that line, you know, sorry that I took so long. It must have been a bitch while I was gone. You know what? Maybe Paul was just a bitch while he was gone. I know that's mean to go ahead and rag on poor Paul Stanley, right? But in the case of 100,000 Years, you know, Paul sings I Stole Your Love, but I remember seeing the concert footage again from the 70s where it really was very Beatle-like, where, you know, when Ace and Gene were sharing the one microphone doing the harmonies, I mean, it was like when John Lennon is singing, you know, I Want to Hold Your Hand, or, you know, She Loves You, yeah, yeah, yeah. And George and Paul are sharing the mic doing harmony backups as well. So because of that, I have to go ahead and give that one to I Stole Your Love. Okay, Black Diamond versus Beth. I mean, here's the thing. Oh, man. This is where it gets me, because I love both these songs. I love how it starts that kind of clear tone with the guitar and Paul going out on the street for a living, pictures only begun. And the rest of the band goes, ooh. And he goes, got you under their thumb. And Peter counts it off on the sticks and Paul shouts, hit it. And the whole band gets into the groove, and you know, Peter Criss is on the drum kit and he's doing the lead vocals, and then they end it with Ace doing that guitar solo where he's on his knees and he's got his head perked up, and Gene and Paul are going like this, like they were bowing before him. And then Beth, which was Peter got the band, I think it was not a Grammy, but a People's Choice Award, and his then wife, Lydia, she accepted the award on their behalf, and it helped Kiss win a People's Choice Award. And I really dig that song. You know, again, it's almost Beatles-like. So, yeah. And, you know, Peter Criss sings on both tracks, and both tracks are awesome. So I'm giving them each a point. All right, Rock Bottom versus God of Thunder. Now, I love the studio version of Rock Bottom better than the live version. You know, and with that being said, I'm going to give that, I mean, God of Thunder takes the win on that one. Okay, let's see. What do we got next? Cold Gin versus I Want You. Oh, another Ace Frehley penned opus that really rocks out with Gene on the lead vocals and Ace and Paul and Peter on the harmonies, up against I Want You. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of I Want You, so Cold Gin gets the win for that one. All right, here we go. Rock and Roll All Night versus Shout It Out Loud. Now, I honestly do like the the live recording of Rock and Roll All Night, because in the studio recording they didn't record a guitar solo, but in their live recordings there's all of a sudden Ace soloing away, and it kicks, it really rocks, it kicks, it just hits you, just sonically punches you in the ears, and it's going up against Shout It Out Loud. Okay, let's see. Shout It Out Loud is, I have to go ahead and give them both a point, especially the fact that, this is my favorite version of Rock and Roll All Night. And Shout It Out Loud. Okay, now we're down to the last. Let Me Go Rock and Roll versus, now remember, I said at the end I was going to pick one of the 4 studio recordings that's at the end of Alive 2. And what better way to keep sending Ace Frehley off with his song Rocket Ride. Let's see, Let Me Go Rock and Roll. I mean, it's an okay song, studio or live, but I'm sorry, I got to go with Rocket Ride. Now, here's where we're at right now. We've got Kiss Alive with 11 points, and we got Kiss Alive 2 with 11 points. So you know what that means? We got us a tie. And you know what I do when we have a tie, right? Let's see if I got a quarter in here. No, I do not. But I got maybe a nickel will be okay. So this is how we're going to settle this dispute. Okay, because right now they're both tied. Oh, wait, I do have a quarter. As Pee Wee Herman would say, laugh. Kiss Alive with 11 points, with Kiss Alive 2 with 11 points. So heads, it'll be Alive. Tails, it'll be Alive 2. Let's see which one of these albums is going to be the tiebreaker. Okay. I am very nervous. I'm not even looking at it. It's on my hand. And it looks like our winner is, it's Tails. It's Tails. It's Tails. Alive 2 wins. Alive 2 is the tiebreaker. Yeah, baby. And you know what? This is my favorite of the Kiss, of any Kiss live recording. I mean, especially God of Thunder, how they do the drum solo in that when it's live. Oh, it doesn't matter. Peter Criss, Eric Carr, and I guess, okay, maybe Eric Singer for those of you who like the half Kiss, half tribute band era from the last 20 plus years. With Tommy Thayer and Eric Singer. But, yep. Yes, Kiss Alive 2 takes the win for that. Right here. This is the best Kiss Live album ever. This one was the starter, but this one helped Kiss even more get into the juggernaut. What do you have to say, Alive 2? I'm going to Disney World. Just like what the athletes used to say. So there you have it. Alive 2 is our winner. And you know what? I've gone ahead and I've wrote up some more. I've got one for Led Zeppelin, In Through the Outdoor versus Black Sabbath, Never Say Die. And you know what? I was considering going back, doing a revisitation of one of the first track-by-tracks I did. Well, a couple of them. The first couple, like when I had The Doors' L.A. Woman against Led Zeppelin 4, or, AC/DC Live versus Kiss Alive 3. Maybe I will go back and revisit them and do it right. Because in the words of Principal Strickland in the Back to the Future movies, I was a slacker. But you know what? I was just getting started on doing these things, and I didn't really know how to do it. But now, look at this. I mean, I also got a whole book here to, write them down and everything. But yeah, the next one will be Led Zeppelin In Through the Outdoor versus Black Sabbath Never Say Die. And I got to tell you, I think that one is going to be a tie as well, where I'm going to have to make one into a tiebreaker. But at any rate, again, if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit a like, subscribe, leave comments down in the box down below. I also want to remind you, keep it real, keep it fresh, keep it chill. Listen to old school music, watch old school movies, watch old school TV shows, play some old school video games, do everything, kick it old school, get you enough of love, get you enough of peace, get you enough of tranquility, get you enough of less drama, get you enough of no drama, get you enough of less chaos, get you enough of no chaos. And as always, Russell JS wishes you Godspeed. May the force be with you always, and shucka-lucka kapow.